Introduce myself. I'm Kavanaugh. I'm a 12U baseball player who's on a mission to make it to the major leagues. And I'm here with Lynn Donaldson. She's my mindset coach. Lynn, I'll let you introduce yourself to everyone watching.
Thank you, Kavanagh. Yes, I'm Lynn Donaldson, and I've had the pleasure of coaching young Kavanagh for probably a year now and seeing him soar in his baseball. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what he has to say. Welcome, everybody.
It was important to me to do this live stream with Lynn because she's one of the main reasons how I've been able to unlock incredible results in such a short period of time. And here's something exciting. Lynn and my mom are cooking up something special for parents, coaches, and athletes. Imagine combining Lynn's expertise and mindset with my mom's 400 plus hours of baseball research. It's going to be next level. We'll tell you more about it soon.
Awesome.
See, your mindset is a game changer, not just on the field, but in life. Whether it's bouncing back from mistakes, staying calm under pressure, or handling setbacks like injuries or rejection, your mental game is everything. And make sure you watch until the end because Miss Lynn has a special invitation for everyone on this live. Now, let's get into it. Today, we're tackling 6 common challenges every athlete faces and how to overcome them with the right mindset. But this isn't just for athletes, these lessons apply to anyone chasing big goals. So let me know where you're tuning in from in the comments. Hit that like button and share this live with someone who needs a mindset boost. Alright, number 1, hitting slumps. Breaking free from negative loops. I'll be real with you. When I was in a hitting slump, I thought the problem was my swing or my bat. I tried everything new stance, new bat, new grip, but nothing worked. The worst part was the pressure I put on myself. I'd walk up to the plate thinking, don't strike out, or everyone's counting on you. By the time the pitch came, I'd psych myself out so much that I could barely focus. One game, I struck out 3 times in a row. I was so frustrated, I almost threw my bat. But after the game, I realized something. It wasn't my swing, it was my mindset. I was stepping into the box expecting to fail before I even swung. And when you expect failure, it becomes your reality. Number 2.
Before you go ahead, Kavanagh, let me kind of respond to that if I can. You're quite right. When you were stepping up and saying don't, your brain doesn't hear the word don't miss. It just hears miss, right? As you're talking to your brain, remember, it doesn't hear the negative as a don't, it hears and it will go ahead and do exactly what you do. Your brain is a goal achieving machine, and you tell it what to do and it will do it. So as you're telling yourself, don't do this, don't do that, don't do the other, that's the problem. And it's a sort of self-fulfilling prophecy in that as you're telling your brain to do something, your reticular activator system at the back of your brain is saying, oh, that's what you want. I'm going to help you get there. So if you're saying to your brain, don't miss, don't suck, all of these other things, it's going to be helping you get to missing and getting to being sucking at the hitting the ball. So it's very important, as you said earlier, about the mindset and not psyching yourself out and not having these negative thoughts in your head. And as we worked on, reframing them from the negative thought to the positive thoughts that you're going in there. I'm going to hit this. I'm going to do well. I'm doing all these things. You're talking positively to your brain because then your brain actually knows what you're looking for.
Yeah. All right. Number 2, getting benched and turning setbacks into growth opportunities. I can't lie. Getting benched used to feel like the ultimate rejection. I'd sit there on the bench feeling angry and embarrassed, thinking, why am I not out there? Do the coaches not believe in me? And instead of staying ready, I just stew in my frustration. One time, I got called a pinch hit late in the game, but I was so caught up in my emotions that I wasn't focused. I struck out, and it felt even worse because I knew I hadn't prepared myself mentally. That's when I realized sitting on the bench wasn't a punishment, it was an opportunity to watch the game, learn from my teammates, and be ready for my moment. Now, when I'm on the bench, I see it as part of the game plan, not the end of it.
Yeah, sitting on the bench, you were going into victim mentality. Woe is me, why is it always happening to me? And that's a loop you can get into. And it's hard to get out of that loop. Excuse me. Once you start in it, it's really hard to get out of it. But what you were doing with changing your mindset to opportunities, this is an opportunity for me to learn, this is an opportunity for me to see what other people are doing. You reframe that so your brain is ready. When you're going through that loop, you're not thinking clearly and you're not thinking about how you can do something better or how you can improve something. You're just stuck in this whole mess inside your head. But once you start thinking as opportunities, your brain clears. And you can also do the breathing techniques as we've done before to help you clear that brain. So if you're starting to get frustrated or you're starting to get into that, as you know from the box breathing techniques we've taught you, it calms your nervous system right down. And then you can start thinking clearly. And then you can start looking at the opportunities. So great job seeing the opportunities and then learning as you were sitting on the bench so that you could move forward with momentum once you actually got called up.
All right, now let's get into pitching under pressure. Like staying calm in the chaos. I'll never forget this one game where I was on the mound with 2 outs, bases loaded, and a one run lead. The stakes were high, and my heart was pounding like crazy. I could hear the crowd, the other team yelling, and even my own doubt creeping in. The first pitch, a ball. The second, another ball. I could feel the pressure building with every second. That's when I stepped off the mound, took a deep breath, and told myself, just throw the next pitch. Don't think about the score. Don't think about the crowd. Just pitch. It wasn't easy, but focusing on one pitch at a time helped me block out the noise and finish the inning. Moments like that taught me that pressure isn't the enemy. It's your mindset in those moments that make or break you.
Absolutely. And you use the breathing technique as we talked about just previously. But also, what's happening is as you start to get stressed, the cortisol levels are going to rise in your body. And as the cortisol levels rise, then that's when your focus goes and your fight or flight or freeze comes in. But once you can breathe and set yourself back, your parasympathetic nervous system back into order, then you can start moving forward. But it's also about focus, what you were just talking about there, about focusing on the next thing, not what happened. Because Tony Robbins talks about where focus goes, energy flows. And it's like you're focusing on something that you want rather than what's just happened. Because if you focus on what just happened, that's where your brain's going to be. And you're going to repeat the same thing as we talked about earlier. But if you focus purely on where you're going and what you want next, that's where your energy is going to flow. And that's where your brain is going to help you get there. So great job.
All right, now let's get into errors in the field. Resetting after mistakes. Let me paint you a picture. I'm playing third base, and a routine ground ball comes my way. Easy play, right? Except I bobbled it, and 2 runners scored. I could feel everyone's eyes on me, and the mistake replayed in my head on a loop. But the next play, I was still thinking about it. And guess what? I messed up again. That's when I realized holding on to mistakes doesn't just hurt you. It hurts your team. I had to learn how to reset and focus on the next play. Now, when I mess up, I take a deep breath, tap my glove, and tell myself, next play. It sounds simple, I know, but it changed everything for me.
Awesome. When we think back to a mistake we've made and we say, I should have done this or I shouldn't have done that, it builds this whole feeling of guilt and shame in us, which is really hard to overcome. Again, it goes back to raising cortisol levels. But if you can just say, okay, that's happened, it's done, because remember, the past is done. We're just playing for the present now. We're not even necessarily playing for the future, we're just playing for the present. So what you were able to do by resetting your mind quickly was able you to reset completely to it's almost a new start every single time, so that you can see and do exactly what you need to do each time. Yes, you can learn from perhaps what you didn't do or how you could improve on the last hit. But each time you reset, you've got a new thought process and you've got a new way of doing things. And so not telling ourselves a story in our head that we should have done this or we shouldn't have done that will help you move on. It's more about what can I do now that's going to improve on what I've already done? What can I do? What's the opportunity? What can I do to keep at my best at all times?
Yeah. Now let's get into post tryout disappointments. Building resilience through rejection. One of the hardest things I've faced was not making a team after a tryout. I was crushed. I would always remember walking to the car with my mom, holding back tears because I didn't want her to see how upset I was. I kept thinking, what else could I have done? Was all that work for nothing? For days, I replayed the tryout in my head, wondering where I went wrong. But eventually, I realized not making the team didn't mean I wasn't good enough. It just meant there was something else I needed to learn. Rejection wasn't the end. It was part of the process. Now when I face setbacks, I look at them as stepping stones, not roadblocks.
Awesome. What you're doing is rewiring your brain. So where before you used to have these setbacks and it would play over and over in this story in your head, that just strengthens the negative neural pathways. But when you can switch and reframe that into an opportunity, a learning opportunity, you start to build new neural pathways that are on a positive front. And that's when you can start to grow and learn more. Sometimes something happens that we really don't prefer. But when you look back on it later on, you see that that event had to happen in order for you to get better or do better or get something, a different opportunity. Just because you didn't make that team doesn't mean to say that the team wasn't right for you or that you weren't good enough. It just means it wasn't right at that time. So your next opportunity, when you do get on a team, the team that you want, you can almost be grateful that you didn't get on that first team because you've got your new team and this is all wonderful and it's all going well. So sometimes things happen for a reason and it's setting you up for success. And that's the way to look at it always. Okay, that didn't happen. Fact, done. Let's move on. What's the next opportunity? What can I learn from that? What can I move forward? And you did that really, really well.
Now let's get into injuries, the mental side of recovery. Injuries are tough, not just because of the physical pain, but because of the mental battle. When I got injured, it felt like the world stopped. Watching my teammates play while I sat on the sidelines made me feel like I was falling behind. There were days I'd think, what if I can't come back as strong? What if this sets me back forever? But then, Miss Lynn taught me about visualization. Even though I couldn't play, I started imagining myself on the field, pitching, hitting, running bases. Helped me stay connected to the game and reminded me that this was just a temporary setback. What I've learned is that injuries don't define you, they test your resilience. And when you push through, you come back stronger in ways you didn't even think were possible.
Absolutely. Just what we were talking about in terms of sometimes things happen and it's not nice at the time, but at least you got through it. And with your ability to visualize, you were able to almost keep your muscle in muscle memory as if it was still pitching, although you weren't physically doing it. There have been studies to show that your body reacts just the same way if you're visualizing versus doing. And that's where the neuroplasticity comes in again, where you're rewiring your brain cells, your brain neuron cells, and you can move on because you're building new pathways. And this was really helpful when you were getting better, but you were still a little bit scared in terms of, what if I hurt myself? What if I hurt myself again and I'm not really ready? And that's natural to go through because you weren't quite sure what was happening. It was the first time you'd been injured and hopefully the last. And so just getting over that fear by visualizing and seeing yourself doing these things, it took away that fear of not being able to do these things again, because you could see yourself. When you visualize, the reticular activating system at the back of your brain comes into play, and it again sees, it's a bit like a Google search. When you're visualizing what you want to happen, it's like, oh, I see now, I'm going to help that happen. It can help with the healing. It can help with the mental healing inside because you were just that little bit scared. But what it does is it really focuses you on getting better, getting your arm better and getting able to play again. And now I think you're playing again, aren't you?
Yes.
Awesome. And you gave it that time to heal and you visualized, and now you were able to play again and have the same speed as you had before, the same technique as you had before, correct?
Yep. Yes.
Awesome. So we've talked a little bit about reframing challenges, when the player reframes the slumps or the setbacks and learning opportunities, and how you can engage the brain's frontal cortex and the center for planning and decision making. This allows them to move forward effectively. You just heard we talked about the power of visualization and how elite athletes use visualization to mentally rehearse success. It's not just athletes, though, just so you know. Kavanagh mentioned at the beginning, mindset is for everybody. It can be if you're going on to do a talk, if you're going onto a stage, whatever you're going to do, if you visualize that success and rehearse it in your head time and time and time again, then when you step into that situation, either the high pressure situation of a game, you're just reliving that memory. So your brain just carries on doing what it was doing in the visualization. It's no big deal. And then, of course, focus on the process and not the outcomes. If you can focus on the controllable actions, the things that you can do, like a good swing or a sharp throw, it activates the brain's reward system, and that's the oxytocin. And it helps you stay motivated, because as you're doing something good, your feel-good hormone, oxytocin, kicks in, and you start to feel better all the time, and your performance will get better. It's like momentum starts. If you can focus on control on the actions you can, and just keep getting better at them, then your oxytocin levels will stay high and you'll continue to move forward with momentum. We also talked a little bit about the positive self-talk, in terms of recovery tools. That self-talk that really, if you get in your head, there's a saying, if you get in your head, you're dead. It's mainly because if you get in your head and it starts that loop, it's hard to get out of, as Kavanagh explained. But if you can reframe that to positive talk, positive self-talk, your brain's listening all the time, then you try the breath control and you reset, just like Kavanagh did, and recover from your mistakes. This has a psychological and a physiological effect on your body. It reduces the cortisol and increases the dopamine and the oxytocin. So growth mindset is for everybody. Every challenge we see, whoever we are, whatever we're doing, but especially with young athletes like Kavanagh, every challenge is an opportunity to grow. As players adopt the mindset, they outperform their peers, just like Kavanagh does. He goes above and beyond every single game. He plays as if there's somebody in the crowd watching him who could be a scout, but he just does his best every single time. And that's being less afraid of failure, but more focused on long-term improvement. And one thing you've got to explain here, understand here, is that Kavanagh works really, really hard behind the scenes. He works on his technique. He works on his strength and endurance. He works on his schoolwork, so he's academically high as well. But he really focuses on his mindset and focuses on his game because that's what he wants. That's what he wants to be the best player. So well done, Kavanagh. That's a great job for you. You've learned so much and you've used it so well. And I just love seeing you soar.
Yeah. All right, y'all. That's a wrap for tonight's episode. We've covered a lot: slumps, setbacks, pressure, and even injuries. And here's the takeaway: your mental game is just as important as your physical one. If you want to dive deeper into this, Miss Lynn is offering complimentary breakthrough calls. Trust me, working with her has been a game changer for me, and I know she can help you too. Drop the word "me" in the comments, and Miss Lynn will send you the link to book a call. And don't forget, my course, The Black Book of Baseball, drops in just 2 days. If you want the link when it goes live, drop a baseball emoji in the comments, and I'll make sure you get it.
It's awesome.
All right.
Looking forward to seeing that, Kavanagh.
Yeah.
Very much.
Thanks for tuning in.
Sorry.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, for supporting me, and for believing in this journey. Let's keep grinding, keep growing, and keep chasing greatness.
Awesome. And great job. I'm trying to look to see if I can put the link in the chat, but I can't seem to kind of put it in. So I'll send it if people put anything in there. If they drop emoji, I'll send it to them. All right?
Yeah, but I'll see you guys tomorrow for episode 7.
Looking forward to it. And great job.
Love you guys. Peace.